After discussing about the tropospheric pollution, let us now discuss about the stratospheric pollution. The upper stratosphere consists of ozone. This ozone protects us from the harmful ultraviolet radiations. If they reach the surface of the earth, they can cause skin cancer. The ozone is formed in the stratosphere by the action of ultraviolet radiations on molecular oxygen. When the ultraviolet radiation they fall on molecular oxygen, it gets split into oxygen atoms. These oxygen atoms then combine with molecular oxygen to form ozone. This ozone is thermodynamically unstable and it decomposes to give back molecular oxygen. So a dynamic equilibrium exists between the production of ozone and decomposition of ozone. Now we all have heard about the depletion of the protective ozone layer. This depletion is because of the presence of certain chemicals in the stratosphere, and these chemicals are the chlorofluorocarbon, and they are also known as freons. These chlorofluorocarbons are non-reactive, non-flammable, non-toxic organic molecules, and therefore they are used in refrigerator, air conditioners, and in the production of plastic foam, and by the electronic industry for cleaning computer parts. The chlorofluorocarbons, they are released in the atmosphere. They mix with the normal atmospheric gases and eventually reach the stratosphere. When they reach the stratosphere, they are broken down by the powerful ultraviolet radiations and they split to form the radicals. Now, these radicals are the reaction intermediates, and we'll learn about them in your organic chemistry class. But in short, I would like to tell you that a homolytic fission takes place and the radicals are the result of homolytic fission. Now, what is homolytic fission? For example, this is a bond. It is represented by 2 electrons and the bond breaks equally. So one electron will be going this side, another this side, and this results in the formation of such radicals. These chlorine-free radicals, then they react with ozone, and as a result of this, chlorine monoxide is formed and molecular oxygen is also evolved. This chlorine monoxide, which is formed, react with more of the oxygen atoms to form the chlorine radicals. These chlorine radicals are continuously, they are continuously regenerated and they keep on causing the breakdown of the ozone molecule, and as a result of this, the ozone layer is depleted. Now, the ozone hole. You all have heard about the ozone hole, which is seen over Antarctica. Now, this ozone hole is found to be a unique set of. This ozone hole is found as a result of unique set of conditions. For example, in summer season, what happens is the nitrogen dioxide and methane, they react with chlorine monoxide and chlorine radical, forming the chlorine sinks. Now let us see, the chlorine monoxide reacts with nitrogen dioxide, and as a result of which chlorine nitrate is formed. The chlorine radical reacts with methane and methyl radical is formed. Now this chlorine nitrate, this combines with water to form the hypochlorous acid and nitric acid. And this chlorine nitrate also combined with HCl to form chlorine and nitric acid. What happens is, during the winter time, a special type of cloud is formed which is called the polar stratospheric cloud, and such clouds are formed over Antarctica. These polar stratospheric clouds provide surface on which these two reactions take place. That is, the chlorine nitrate which is formed here, that gets hydrolyzed to form the hypochlorous acid, and also it combines with HCl to form the chlorine. Now what happens as the summer returns in Antarctica, the sun's warmth break up the clouds, that is the polar stratospheric clouds are broken, and hypochlorous acid and chlorine, they are again photolysed, that is undergo photolytic reactions, as a result of which the chlorine radicals are formed. Thus chlorine radicals which are formed, they again initiate the chain reaction for ozone depletion. Now what is the effect of depletion of the ozone layer? The As the ozone layer gets depleted, so the ultraviolet radiations, they can enter the atmosphere and can cause aging of the skin, cataract, sunburn, skin cancer, killing of many phytoplanktons, damage to fish productivity. So also what happens, the plant proteins, they are also affected by the ultraviolet radiations, as a result of which they undergo mutations. Also, it increases the evaporation of surface water through the stomata of the leaves and decrease the moisture content of the soil. Increase in ultraviolet radiation damages paints and fibers, causing them to fade faster. Water pollution. Water is essential for life. Pollution of water originate from human activities. If we are able to identify the source or the place of pollution, then we call that source as point source. And the non-point source of pollution are those where a source of pollution cannot be easily identified. Then causes of water pollution, pathogens. The pathogens are disease-causing agents. They include bacteria and other organisms that enter water from domestic sewage and animal excreta. Then we come to the organic waste. The major pollutant is organic matter, which include leaves, grass, trash. The excessive phytoplankton growth within water is also a cause of water pollution. And the large population of bacteria that decomposes the organic matter present in the water, they consume oxygen dissolved in the water, and the amount of oxygen which is required by the bacteria to break down the organic matter present in a certain volume of a sample of water is called the biological oxygen demand. Clean water should have BOD value of less than 5 ppm, whereas highly polluted water could have a biological oxygen demand value of 17 ppm or more, which indicates that there are large number of bacteria and so large amount of oxygen is required. That is what we mean by biological oxygen demand. That is the amount of oxygen which is required by the bacteria to break down the organic matter. Then if we have the cold water, the dissolved oxygen can reach a concentration up to 10 parts per million, whereas oxygen in air is 2 lakhs part per million. So even a moderate amount of the organic matter, when decomposes in water, can deplete the water of its dissolved oxygen, right? So if too much organic matter is added to the water, then all the available oxygen is used up, and so this causes the oxygen dependent aquatic life to die. The anaerobic bacteria, that is bacteria which do not require oxygen, they break down the organic matter and produce chemicals having a foul smell, which are harmful to human health. Aerobic bacteria degrade the organic waste and keep the water depleted of the dissolved oxygen. Then we come to the chemical pollutants. The water is an excellent solvent, so there are many chemicals which can dissolve in water. For example, we have cadmium, mercury, nickel. They are important class of pollutants. They are very dangerous to human because our body cannot excrete them, and over the time they can cross the tolerance limit and can damage the kidneys, central nervous system, liver. Now acid from mine drainage and salts from many different sources, including raw salt used to melt snow and ice in the colder climates, they are also chemical pollutants. Now we see that petroleum products, they also pollute many sources of water. For example, the major oil spills in oceans. Then we have various industrial chemicals like polychlorinated biphenyls. They are used as cleansing solvents. Then detergents, fertilizers, they add to the list of water pollutants. This polychlorinated biphenyl, which are used as cleansing solvent, they are suspected to be carcinogenic also, right? Now most of the detergents are biodegradable, so the bacteria responsible for degrading the biodegradable detergent feed on it and grow rapidly, and while they are growing they use all the oxygen dissolved in water, and the lack of oxygen can kill the aquatic life such as fish and plants. Now fertilizers which we add to the crops, they contain phosphates. These they are washed away with rainwater and they are collected nearby. So these phosphates, they enhance the algal growth, and this is known as eutrophication. Because of the algal growth, the other species, they die. So the bloom infested water inhibits the growth of other living organisms in the water body. This process, in which nutrient enriched water bodies support a dense plant population which kills animal life by depriving it of oxygen and result in subsequent loss of biodiversity, is known as eutrophication. International standards for drinking water. Fluoride. For drinking purposes, the water should be tested for fluoride concentration, and its deficiency in drinking water can cause diseases such as tooth decay. It should have a concentration of up to 1 part per million. The fluoride ions make the enamel on the teeth harder by converting the hydroxyapatite into a harder fluoroapatite. Just see the formulas of hydroxyapatite. This hydroxyapatite is the enamel on the surface of the teeth, and it is hardened by the fluoride ions. So we can see the formula here. This is generally asked in the competitive exam. Then we come to the fact that fluoride ion concentration, if this fluoride ion concentration is above 2 parts per million, then it can cause mottling of the teeth. At the same time, excess fluoride, that is over 10 parts per million, causes harmful effect to bones and teeth. Then lead. The drinking water is also contaminated with lead. When lead pipes are used for transportation of water, the prescribed upper limit concentration of lead in drinking water is about 50 parts per billion. Lead can damage kidney, liver and reproductive systems. Then we come to the sulfate. The excessive sulfate in drinking water cause laxative effect. At moderate level, it is harmless. Then we come to nitrates. The maximum limit of nitrate in drinking water is 50 parts per million, and excess nitrate in drinking water can cause blue baby syndrome. Then we can see the maximum prescribed concentration of some metals in drinking water. Iron should have 0.2, manganese 0.05, aluminium 0.2, copper 3, zinc 5, cadmium 0.005. Please note these concentrations. They can come in the multiple choice questions. Soil pollution. The insecticide, pesticides and herbicides which were used for the protection of our crops against insects, rodents, weeds and crop diseases can also cause soil pollution. So there is a need for their judicious use. Pesticides. Prior to World War II, nicotine, which was a naturally occurring chemical from the tobacco plant, was used as pest controlling substance for major crops in agricultural practices. During World War II, DDT was used to control malaria and other insect-borne diseases. It was used in agriculture to control the damage caused by insects, rodents, weeds and various crop diseases, but due to its adverse effect, its use was banned in India. The DDT, the insects, they became resistant to DDT, so other toxins such as aldrin and dieldrin were introduced in the market by the pesticide industry. These toxins are water insoluble and non-biodegradable, and they are transferred from lower trophic level to the higher trophic level through the food chain, and over the time the concentration of toxins in the higher animal reach a level which cause serious metabolic and physiological disorders. In response to high persistence of chlorinated organic toxins, a new series of less persistent or more biodegradable products called organophosphates and carbamates were introduced in the market. These chemicals were also severe nerve toxins. Later on, the pesticide industry shifted its attention to herbicides such as sodium chlorate, sodium arsenite, sodium and many other. During the first half of the last century, the shift from mechanical to chemical weed control had provided the industry with flourishing economic market, but they were also not environment friendly. These herbicides, they were toxic to animals, but they were not as persistent as organochlorides. They decompose in few months. Like organochlorides, they too became concentrated in the food web, and these herbicides caused birth defects. Industrial waste. The industrial waste can be biodegradable or non-biodegradable. The biodegradable waste is generated by cotton mill, food processing unit, paper mill and textile factories. The non-biodegradable waste is generated by the thermal power plants which produce fly ash, integrated iron and steel plants which produce blast furnace slag and steel melting slag. The disposal of non-degradable industrial solid waste, if not done by a proper and suitable method, can cause serious threat to the environment. Nowadays, fly ash and slag from the steel industry, they are utilized by the cement industry. Coming to the strategies to control environmental pollution, the waste management. The waste has to be managed in a proper way, and because the improper disposal of waste can cause environmental degradation. Collection and disposal. The domestic waste is first collected in small bins, then it is transferred to community bins. From the community bins, it is collected and carried to the disposable site. At the site, the garbage is sorted for biodegradable and non-biodegradable materials. The non-biodegradable materials such as plastic, glass, metal, they are sent for recycling, and biodegradable waste, they are deposited in landfills and are converted into compost. The waste, if not collected in garbage bins, will go into the sewers, and sometimes it can be eaten by the cattle, which can cost their lives. Okay, then all the domestic waste should be properly collected and disposed. The poor management causes health problems leading to epidemics due to contamination of the groundwater. Green chemistry. India attained self-sufficiency in food by using fertilizers, pesticides and exploring improved methods of farming, good quality seeds, irrigation. But over-exploitation of soil and excessive use of fertilizers and pesticide resulted in the deterioration of soil, water and air. So the solution to this problem does not lie in stopping the process of development, but to discover methods which would help in the reduction of deterioration of the environment. So green chemistry is a way of thinking, and it is about utilizing the existing knowledge and principles of chemistry and other sciences to reduce the adverse impact on the environment. So green chemistry is a production process that would bring about minimum pollution to the environment. In a chemical reaction, if reactants are fully converted into useful environmental friendly products by using an environment friendly medium, then there would be no chemical pollutant introduced in the environment. It is worthwhile to carry synthetic reactions in aqueous medium since water has high specific heat, low volatility, and water is cost effective, non-inflammable and devoid of any carcinogenic effects. Green chemistry in day-to-day life. Dry cleaning of clothes. Tetrachloroethene was earlier used as a solvent for dry cleaning, but this tetrachloroethene is carcinogenic, and also it contaminates the groundwater. So it is now replaced by liquefied carbon dioxide with a suitable detergent. The hydrogen peroxide is used for the purpose of bleaching clothes in the process of laundry. It gives better results and make use of lesser amount of water. Bleaching of paper. Chlorine gas was earlier used for bleaching, but nowadays hydrogen peroxide with a suitable catalyst is preferred. Synthesis of chemicals. Ethanol is commercially prepared by one-step oxidation of ethene in the presence of ionic catalyst in aqueous medium with a yield of 90%. So the medium used is water. Ethene combines with oxygen in the presence of a catalyst and it forms ethanol and the yield is 90%. So green chemistry is a cost-effective approach which involves reduction in material, energy consumption and waste generation. So it is a cost-effective approach.